I will go get started here. Thanks for having me. We could do a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. Let me share my screen and get started. So my presentation is going to be about Apple in 2026 so far, what you should upgrade, what you should skip, and what you should watch. There's been a number. I mean, this is probably one of the bigger upgrade cycles in the first quarter of 2026 that I saw. So, and I thought this would be an ideal way to show what is all out there. And I probably shouldn't, I should say it, but I guess I'm going to say it. I upgraded quite a few of these items I have now. So, I'll get into that just a bit here. So. This is what we're looking at here. This is what Apple has released so far in 2026. The iPhone 17e, which is a replacement model. I'll get details of all this. That was on March 2nd. And you got the MacBook Pro M5, Pro and Max, as well as the iPad Air M4. The studio displays were finally upgraded. It's been quite a few years for that. The MacBook Air, and I'm excited to talk about the MacBook Neo, and we'll get into that just here shortly. So let's start off with the iPhone 17e. So this is what the iPhone 17e looks. I thought it'd be kind of fun. Put your website on an iPhone, took a picture, and that's what we kind of share it tonight. So this is the 17e. It's now a standard 256 gigabytes. This is the front of it and the back of it. The back has got only a single lens on it. So, but it looks pretty much like a lot of iPhones that have been out there for many years, and I must say it's a pretty gosh darn good model. So let's talk about some of the specs. So it's got an A19 chip, so it's the exact same one as the iPhone 17. It doesn't have the same chip as the 16e, which I'll talk about in a minute. It does have a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR with the ceramic Shield 2 on it, so it's got a really good display. Surprisingly enough, for this price point, it's starting at $599. MagSafe is now back. I'd never understood, but I had the 16e last year, why they opted not to put MagSafe on it. Well, they brought it back. Now it's on the 17e, which would make more sense in the world. I can guarantee Apple got a lot of heat for that. Um, the wireless charging in the full accessory ecosystem is going to work now. Now, great thing about this camera is a 48 megapixel fusion camera. So that means fusion. What that means is it's fusing like a telephoto and a regular lens all in one. So you're used to on a 17 has two lenses, 17 Pro has three lenses. It's got a little, so that's one of the big things. The camera is going to be a little different when it comes to photography. If you're really enjoying, like if you have a Pro series iPhone, you might not like this phone. But it takes some pretty gosh darn good pictures. It does have 4K Dolby Vision video recording, so it's recording in really high quality video for this price point. You were talking about modems earlier in the news here. The C1X modem is now on the 17e. That's 2 times faster than the 16e C1. So these modems are very efficient, very lot faster than the Qualcomms that Apple was using. Again, I mentioned they finally are having a 256 gigabyte base storage. So it's doubled. So that's at the same price at $599. Got you have 4 colors. You have black, which was the one I had, white, and then I'm sorry, 3 colors: black, white, and there's a new soft pink. I bought my mother-in-law the soft pink. She really likes it. Still no dynamic island, which I'm not overly concerned about, but that's okay. And it does replace the 16e, which was short-lived. I did trade up from the 16e to the 17e. This is my kind of my secondary iPhone that I use for testing and wanting to see how it goes. My opinion on this phone, I think, is probably a really good phone for most people, honestly. If you don't really care too much about the heavy duty photography, you're still going to get great pictures out of this iPhone. But for its price point, I think it's really, really good. And those who did buy the 16e, the 16e accessories fit perfectly with the 17e, which is kind of unusual for an iPhone, because we would upgrade every year. With the 15 and then the 16, a big change, and then 16 to 17, another big change. Well, now, so I had a case already for my 16e. I didn't have to buy a case, so it fit perfectly. So my consensus on this iPhone, it's definitely a buy if you're not looking out at the high end you're budget minded. A lot of carriers are offering it for $0. You can do in my case, I do it because T-Mobile offers it for 24 months for free. I just have to keep it active for those 2 years. It's 2 years, which I have no problem doing that because since I have my family in multiple lines, up to 9 lines on my account now, so I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon with from T-Mobile here. So that's the 17E, and definitely I think it's something you should look into if you're in the market for an iPhone and don't want to spend a lot of money on it. So let's go to the iPad Air, which I did not buy. As I'll tell you right now, I don't have it. So yeah, they been the M4 chip to up to 30% faster than the M3 model. So there's some speed jump, about 30%. With an iPad, I don't know how crazy important that is for most people. I think the M3 model is pretty gosh darn good. But that's what they have here with the speeds. The memory has gone up from 8 GB to 12 GB, which is great. The unified memory, so you're going to see some improvements with the memory and the way it's working. The new N1 networking chip has now got the Wi-Fi 7 protocol and the Bluetooth 6. Those are new protocols. They're available now. C1X modem, just like in the 17E. That's faster for faster 5G. It's got the same design. They didn't change the design at all. So it's really got the same colors as the M3. You got blue, purple, starlight, space gray. Price starts at $599, and that's for the 11-inch, and $799 for the 13-inch. They're already out there. So it was pre-ordered early March, and it did replace that M3 iPad Air. My opinion on this iPad is, I think it's an iPad that you really should consider. I mean, I think anybody that's in the market for an iPad, the Pro really can be a little bit over and above what most people need. The Pro is, it's for Pro folks who are doing a lot more heavier sketching. They want to have the M5 processor, which is in the Pro, and the Air is a good sweet spot in the iPad line. They have the low end model, who has the A18 processor, but and that's fine for probably most people, similar to what the iPhone 17e is. If you don't want to get crazy, they have improved that iPad, but I think this is a really good sweet spot. If you're in the market, want an iPad, I think this is going to be a really good choice. And Apple did some good things with this, so I definitely think it's going to be great. So that's iPad. And let's start with the MacBook. So they really did lots of updates to the MacBook. So I have every one of these. So I guess I shouldn't say that, but I do. So I did trade it in. So the MacBook Air. The MacBook Air is now an M5 chip. It's got 10 cores of CPU and it's up to 10 cores of a GPU. It's 4 times faster in AI performance than the M4. The memory bandwidth is increased substantially. It's going about 28% faster than the M4 at 153 gigabits a second. And the N1 chip, as we talked about on all the devices, you're seeing that trend here. The base storage now doubled to 512 gigabytes because you'd started at 256 on the Air. Now it's 512. So that's a pretty good deal when it comes to this. Pricing starts at around $1099, and the 15-inch model is at $1299. I have the 13-inch, and it's $100 more than the M4 models because they did add the extra storage. And again, it replaced the M4. I traded in an M3, so I did have that one and went in and got this model. And this model is a very nice Mac. I think it's a good sweet spot at the mid grade when it comes to Macs, and got really good performance. I do notice a big difference in the performance between the M3 and the M5 when it comes to performance and it's speedy. And this is going to be more of a travel laptop for me when it comes to. So I have that, and I have my M5 MacBook Pro, which I'm going to talk about in just a second here. Is the production model here. So, and speaking of the M5 Pro, got another great picture of this of their website here, and this is the M5 Pro, and then there's also the M5 Max that was released with this. This I know the color is kind of off here when I took the picture, but this is the space black, and I've noticed that the space black color is a lot darker than the previous model space black. The space black was kind of a little lighter than it was, because I had a my work MacBook Pro M5 is space black, and I put them next to each other, and this one they did a little good things with the color. It is a little darker, which I like. Again, a lot of specs we got here. 18 core CPU is the Pro. You got up to 24 core in the GPU. Same thing with the Wi-Fi. Now they didn't move up the base storage up to 1 TB because of all you talked about earlier in the news about the storage and the chip shortages. That's what's happening here. The 1 TB drives are a little more readily available because Apple would tend to sell the lower end models with the 512 gigabytes. So they opted to go with the 1 TB now as standard, which is great because that's what I wanted anyway. Because I think 1 TB much better to have on a laptop than 512 because you'll fill it up pretty quick, especially if you do video recordings and a lot of file storage. So pricing, which starts at $21.99 on the 14-inch. I opted to the 14-inch. I traded in an M1. So I had an M1 MacBook Pro 16-inch. And I found that laptop to be very big and very bulky. I never really took it with me anywhere because it was so big. and it's expensive too. Because you go at the $26.99 on the 16-inch model. And that's that. And that's a good point as far as the Pro line goes on the Macs. But there are going to be people out there who need the Max. Moves it up a bit. Your CPU is about the same, but you're going at a big jump on the core of the GPU because that's at 40 core. That's quite a jump, and it does have up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and the memory bandwidth is up to 614 gigabytes, which is pretty fast. It really is. So now the Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6 with the N1 chip is normal. Then they moved the base storage is upgraded to 2 TB on the 16-inch. But look at those prices there. In that storage in the different sizes, you go from the $35.99 to $38.99. So the Max is really not for anybody. Probably in this audience, I would not think this is really a high-end power Mac. If someone who does a lot of graphic artists, and doing sketching and doing a lot of heavy intensive Adobe, a lot of high-end video editing, that kind of stuff, like way high-end. Where I work, I've worked with some people that are like that do a lot of data crunching. They're doing data analysis. Sometimes they may need this type of machine just to do all that crashing of all the numbers with the databases and such. That it might require this, but we find the Pro is more than sufficient. Even the M5 for that matter, because Apple did come out with the M5 earlier, late last year. So that M5 is still a pretty gosh darn good model too. But we were waiting for a while for the Pro and the Max to come out, and Apple did delay it for quite a bit. So that's the great thing with that, with this model. So, and I'll talk a little more about Mac towards the end here because we got one more surprise that we aren't going to talk about here, as you probably know what it is. But so then let's talk about what else they released. Again, these are high end. The new studio displays, they're pretty amazing. They hadn't upgraded these screens for at least 3 or 4 years. It was 2022 when these studio displays came out. So they really took a while to upgrade these. So it's still $15.99 for the base studio display, which is the same price as before. It's the 27-inch display, which I think is a sufficient size, but I should talk because I'm looking at a 34-inch curved screen and a 32-inch curved screen myself here. But I think it's sufficient for most people. It does have now Thunderbolt 5, and that's notable on all of the Macs. I didn't mention that. All the Macs now have Thunderbolt 5 connectors on them on the Pro and the Macs. They did upgrade that, which is good. Of course, you have to spend that extra $500 for that height adjustable stand. I'm sorry, $400. And then if you want the nano texture glass, that's another $300 option. So it adds up quick. But then you go to the Studio Display XDR. It's $32.99 versus that $5,000 that people were paying on that old XDR display. So they brought the price down a bit on this one. Again, 27-inch. It's a mini LED display, so it's got a little more sharper image. And you have definitely some good brightness. It's at 200 nits peak HDR brightness. Now it's 120 hertz, which is a very high refresh rate. The one model I have here is 100 hertz refresh rate. And I do notice a difference because a lot of the lower end displays are like at 60 hertz in most cases, and those tend to be a little slower reaction. You don't notice it, but you do notice a difference if you had like this with 120 or 100. Um, and it did replace that old 32-inch. That this is 32-inch. There's also a 32-inch display that's even more.
Mm.
The tilt stand is included. How nice of them! And then, of course, the nano texture display is a $300 option. Of course, again, my thoughts on this: these are high-end monitors. The 1599, if you wanted to get the basic studio display, it's a little high price still, but it's kind of within some folks' budget. But I think most of us may just be okay. I mean, I really like Dell monitors. I think I've been very happy with Dell for a long time. This model I purchased is a 34-inch curved, and it's been really, really good for me. And there are a number of others. The Samsung is okay. They can make some good monitors too, and they work quite nicely with the Mac. So you don't have to go to pay the extra with the studio display. But I think for the most part, it is a nice one if you have the budget for it. It's pretty much what I was going to say here. So I want to talk about now the MacBook Neo. Now the Neo is an amazing computer. I wasn't going to buy this Mac, okay, but what I did was I decided to do it because FOMO. Blame Marty Gensius on this because I know he talked to you last month. He him and Eric Bolden, who I do podcasting with on the Vision Profiles, uh, decided, yeah, we got to get some MacBook Neos. So, and we're going to get them. And I wasn't going to do it, but then I had a little bit of FOMO, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So, but the great thing is the pricing. It's so incredibly cheap. So let's go into some of this stuff and talk about it. And as you see here, there's so many different colors that you can get, and we'll talk about that as well. Here's some of the specs that there is out here. So it's powered by an A18 Pro chip. That's a 6-core CPU and a 5-core GPU. That is the exact same chip that's in the iPhone 16 Pro. Think about that. The little iPhone that you have, which we consider a computer in your pocket, is the same chip, and that phone is running in this MacBook Neo. So, and this is the very first Mac to run a series rather than an M series chip. So, very first time, but it works kind of hand in hand because the A series and the M series will work very similarly. It's not like Intel where it's a completely different architecture. So, you're still in the same architecture, just a different family within the way the architecture works on the Mac. Now it is 8 GB of unified memory, and everybody thinks, "Oh my gosh, that's not enough memory, right?" And it's not upgradable, so you do have to go with this. But hold that thought because I can tell you that it isn't going to matter. So this display is a 13-inch liquid Retina display, and it's got some pretty good resolution for I must say for a laptop at this price point. So it's a 2408 by 1506, which is at 500 nits brightness, is very good. And it is 1 billion colors, but there's no notch. And I don't know. I'm hit or miss with the notch. I don't pay much attention to it other than it takes up space when I'm up at the top of the screen. And like I said, oh yeah, Dave, yeah, I bought one. So I bought the silver. I know the one of the colors that is very popular is the indigo, as well as the blush is right behind it. But the citrus has been kind of popular too. I was in the Apple Store. I don't know if any of you folks got to go into the Apple Store and get to see them and touch them. The keyboard colors are nice too because the silver has white keys and the indigo has got the matching keys as well. Again, it's going to be on the low end, but the one thing is if you're a big person who needs ports, this is not going to be for you because it only has 2 total ports. It's got a USB 3, which is for the display out and for power because it does not have MagSafe either. So you're going to have to get around that. Well, there is a way to get around it, and Marty and I and others in our podcast found a nice little dock that you can plug in to the USB 3 port and be able to power it with the power plug in there, as well as have some extra ports to plug things in. Now, the second one, surprisingly, is a USB 2. So it can be used for some data use, but it's going to be slow because that is the slowest bandwidth you have here. But you do have you also have a jack on the left of the laptop, so you have for a headphone jack, so it does include that. And older technology, so it's the Wi-Fi 6E, which I'm still sporting here in my office here in my house, so I don't have any problems with 6E. 7 is kind of overrated, honestly. But it does have Bluetooth 6, and then there's, like I said, the headphone jack is on the left. So and then you have 1080p FaceTime HD camera, not bad, and it's got dual mics, so people are going to be able to hear you when you're using it. And then it's got dual firing speakers with spatial audio. The sound is okay. It's good. It's sufficient for most uses. It's not going to be like a MacBook Pro where it's got the really good 4 driving speakers and make some good sound. But we know we're going to hook it up to speakers most of the time if we're listening to music here. So it does run Mac OS Tahoe, and it does work with Apple Intelligence. So that was one of the big things that was holding back some of the Macs where you couldn't run some of those, especially the older Macs. Comparatively speaking to like a MacBook Air M1, which was the first model that, if you remember, Walmart was selling those for really cheap, right around the price of this one. So it is definitely it does run it. So let's talk about the 2 models. So you have 2 models. The base model. The base model is at $599. It's a 256 gig of storage and no Touch ID, no backlit keyboard, and the educational pricing actually starts at $499. So if you are a teacher or you work in education, you can get this at $499 for this. This is a big thing if you think about it, because I think a lot of school districts, a lot of higher education, like colleges, and are going to be looking at this closer, because having a model at this low price compared to what they're paying for on those really crappy, I'll be honest, Chromebooks, that I think it's going to be a big push for this coming this next new school year coming up here. You wouldn't be, I would not be all surprised you start seeing more and more of these Macs. And we've been talking about the restraints because Apple just did not expect the overwhelming demand on purchasing these Macs, because people love them. It's a great price, and hey, we all know we want to be in the Mac in that world. We want to use the Mac operating system and not be looking at Windows stuff. We're dealing with in the corporate world. And then you move on to the upgraded model, which is at $699. You have 512 gigabytes of storage. It adds the Touch ID. You get up to 16 hours of battery life on this higher end model. And in comparison, the MacBook Air offers 18 hours of battery life. So think about that price, because you're talking at $1099, $1199 on the Air. You had $699 on this base model. My opinion, I don't think it's even worth. I would spend the extra $100 and go with the upgraded model. I mean, to have Touch ID is so convenient, and to get that battery life that it has is awesome as well. So it is definitely worth the value if you're going to look at a Neo. Okay. Now, if you had any questions out there at all, or everybody's just listening in intently, I haven't been watching.
Could you put in the chat maybe that doc, that loading doc you said you found?
Yes,
one?
I will do that once I stop sharing. I don't want to disturb this, but yeah, thank you. I will definitely get a link here for you. So here's some of the performance and AI as well. With video editing, you can use the creator Apple Creator Suite and do a 4K converting of a video. It works seamlessly. I've tried it. It's incredible. I went through and did a 4K video, and it was like 2.5 minutes long, and I edited it, and I would expect it to probably take a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It took less than 2 minutes to do the video editing, of a video that was only 2.5 minutes long. So pretty incredible with editing and working seamlessly with the Apple Creative Suite. Now, one thing you can only do is you can only include one external monitor, and I wouldn't go down this road because I think most people don't like to go hacking to do these things. You can do it. I'm not going to go down that road, but there are hacks enabled to do it. But stick with the one display. If you want to hook up, like, let's say, an external display, like a travel monitor maybe, or of course just a monitor that's at your desk, it'll work perfectly fine with that. You can hook up a 34, 32, 20, any size screen you want, works great. You can use the MacBook Neo as a Mac virtual display with your Vision Pro. If you have a Vision Pro, it does act as a viewer for what is on your MacBook Neo, so you have that option as well. Again, like I said, works seamlessly with the Apple Creator Studio. It manages one display. It is one of the most affordable Apple laptops ever. I can't believe the price. I mean, this is just unheard of with Apple. We all been following Apple for a very, very long time. Never seen them before come up with a product this low beyond the Mac Mini, which being a desktop, which of course still have to buy a monitor and keyboard, mouse, and all that. Well, this is a laptop. Again, I said it's going to be targeting students, casual users, Chrome and Windows switchers. Again, the MacBook Neo's battery performance went from 100 to 30% of usage within 10 hours of use. I tested it. That was really pretty incredible to be able to use this laptop for 10 hours without even blinking an eye about worrying about the battery running out. What I did is I wanted to test something because they did that Parallels. If anybody's familiar with Parallels, it's a virtual machine software, and you're able to run Windows. I mean, let's face it, there are times you have to run Windows because there might be something that let's say you have an Access database, which of course Access is only on Windows. The other types of software like Visio is another one. If you're using that you can't use on a Mac, you'd be able to run Windows on this machine. So it runs incredibly well. I'm amazed at how well it performed. The Windows environment ran. It wasn't slow. I mean, Parallels in itself, I think, did an amazing job with their latest version of the software because I found it to be much because I'm a big Parallels user as well, and I found that it was very, very efficient and running on even the higher end MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, but for a MacBook Neo like this at the processing speeds and memory it has runs really, really well. I'm very, very impressed. So, okay. And let's go in a comparison here. So here's the pricing comparisons between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Neo. How do they compare? So you're talking about a $500 difference in price. The chip is an A18 Pro versus an M5. The base storage is going to be 256. The base storage on the Air is 512. Again, add $100 on the MacBook Neo, you'll get to 512. RAM is an 8 gig. That's it. You're fixed. Well, which of course you can get an Air if you decide you want to upgrade it to maybe go from 16 to 24 gigabytes. You could and more. Of course, you're adding to that price. It does have a comparative battery life. It said Air is up to 18 hours. Neo's up to 16 hours. Both have liquid retina displays, but no notch on the Neo, but there does have a notch on the Air. So again, the Wi-Fi and ports are about the same. There are two USB-C ports on the Air, but of course the Air is going to have Thunderbolt 5, whereas the Neo will only have USB 3 and USB 2. And Touch ID, just a $699 model, like I said. Students and switchers are good. I think it'll be good for. We talked about where I'm at with my opinions on that. Mainstream Apple users, I think the Air is a good sweet spot for most users who have the budget who want to do this. But to have it for this price point, it's a really, really great value. And this, let's say who really should be buying it. So it's great for our students on a tight budget. Again, Chromebook or Windows switchers, casual light users, web, email, writing, perfect laptop to do that. If it's a first Mac purchase, this is probably a great way to start. Try to get people to switch from Windows to Mac is always a bit of a challenge because people are so used to Windows, but the switching is getting easier and easier every time the new upgrades happen. So anybody who needs Apple Intelligence, it's at the lowest price. Of course, Apple Intelligence isn't available yet, right? But using App Intelligence such as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, you talked about Gemini. They finally came out with an app for the Mac that I tried that on the MacBook Neo. It worked great. We're working really well. I think this also could be good for business travelers. So if those who are still working in the business, it's a potential possibility. You can have this as like a secondary laptop that can travel with because this laptop is only 2.2 pounds. It is one of the lightest laptops out there with that. So, but it's not ideal for, well, if you're a power user and you're doing a lot of photo and editing, it's not going to be for you. If you're really high production type of editing, this is probably not something that you'd want to be using other than in a pinch for, just some quick editing as a secondary machine, maybe in this case. If you need more than 8 gigs of RAM, yeah, this is definitely not for you. I think RAM can be overrated at sometimes. I mean, yeah, 8 gigs is not much these days, but I think Apple's done an amazing job of going through and getting this processor to be efficient and not have to attack that RAM all the time. You think about it, I just talked about Parallels. Parallels always has to take half the RAM that's available on a laptop. So it took 4 gigabytes of RAM when it's running Windows. The other 4 gigs left on the Apple. So it still ran great. I could go between both environments very easily and not have a problem. So if you're a huge multitasker, yeah, this isn't going to be for you either. And if you want more ports, the Pro only has technically 3 ports if you think about it, but it does have MagSafe. Both the Air and the Pro have a MagSafe connector, so at least that frees up ports. Whereas on the Pro, you have to take up one of those ports unless we get that dock, which I will make sure I put a link in the show note, in the chat for you here. So that's probably going to be the one thing you got to think about here. So I guess I'm going to ask the question: 3 MacBooks. Which one should you upgrade? Which should you wait, or should you skip? Well, I think it's really going to be up to you where you're at. I would say a sweet spot. If you're running an M1 processor right now, this might be a time to probably consider doing an upgrade because the M1 still works pretty good for the most part. But I did notice because I had my M1 MacBook Pro and I moved on to the M5. Huge. I definitely noticed some pretty big, huge performance pickups with the M5 processor. If you're in that world, if you're on the Air, same thing. I think if you're at like an M2 or an M3, you're definitely going to notice some big jumps, and the M1 for that matter. You're going to see some jumps with that. M3, you'll probably be okay. The M4 might be okay. The M4 for sure. I don't think it's huge. It's much of a deal to go from the M4 to the M5. But if you're at the M1, M2, you might want to consider it. It all depends on what you're doing. If the laptop still works, that's great. And Apple's been really generous in continuing to put the latest OS on all of the M series processors. We'll see what happens when the WWDC happens, and we'll probably be done talking about an M6 processor pretty soon here. But of course, we never can keep up with that. So should you upgrade, make that decision. You got to think about it. And should you wait? Yeah, if you want to wait, I think yes, like I just described, whichever processors that you happen to have with a Mac, or if you're happy with what you have, you can wait. You could skip it all together and be good with it, and it should be just fine up to the where you want to be with this. So, any other questions that have been out there before I move on? All right. So Apple surprise, like a one more thing. Apple did release one thing we never expected this year. Yes, finally, the AirPods Max 2. It only took them 4 years,
What?
5 years. Yes, I can't believe it. They actually released it. So the AirPods Max 2. There's a lot of you folks out there have the AirPods Max 2. I heard a few people excited about that. And the big difference between the two is you can find the first gen AirPods Max with the Lightning connector. I know it's still out there for a pretty good price. And it's a decent headset. I bought that headset for my wife a few years ago, and she loves it still to this day. It's difficult when you have all USB-C for everything now these days. But you get around it, and it still works. And then they switched it, of course, to the USB-C. Same model, but now they finally have improved the tech here with these. So now it's an H2 chip. So it's got the H2 chip on each ear cup. It does have conversational awareness, so now you can be able to, just like the AirPods 3, got conversational awareness. Then you can hear people speaking if you turn that on. Excuse me. It has 1.5x more active noise cancellation than the original. It's adaptive audio and transparent mode, so you have that just like the AirPods Pro 3, and personalized spatial audio plus head tracking, adaptive EQ, so it gives you adaptive equalization. Then you also have the lossless audio and ultra low latency audio via USB-C, which is good because the lossless audio is going to give you a much better quality audio with this, and that latency won't be such a delay that you've experienced in the past with some headsets and AirPods for that matter. You got the digital crown, so it does volume, play, pausing, and call under the controls and sensors. The a noise control button to the ANC, the transparency toggle. You'll have the Hey Yes Lady support, so you can have that available as well. It's got 9 microphones total, 8 for the ANC and 3 for voice. So
Whoa.
I've heard that a lot of people, our friend that's on MacVoices with us, Jim Ray, the great developer of Panorama, the database program, he uses his AirPods Max every week on the show, and funny, he's been having trouble with this. So what he would do is he put the headphones in a freezer, get them all real cold, and then take them back out, and they start working again. Don't ask me why, but apparently it works for him. But he does use those, and his mic sounds very good. Because all of us usually are using the mics like I'm using here. But it does sound very good. And it does have optical plus position sensors on each cup of the headphone, and an accelerometer for each cup, and a gyroscope on the left. Now the battery and the build, they're still using old technology with the Bluetooth. It's at 5.3, which is fine. Isn't a big deal. But you've got 20 hours of listening, which is, even with the ANC on, that's really good. So it's much more improved with the performance. USB-C charging, and then it has that wonderful smart case that looks like a bra, honestly, that you plug that you plug on there. The weight's not bad. It's only at 4.7 ounces, so it's not the heaviest thing in the world in your head. And then it's got some new colors. It's got midnight, starlight, blue, purple, and orange. So you have those colors. It shows the picture right there. So with that, any questions at all? I went through a lot of stuff, and I tried to go as slow as I could. Is anybody excited about the MacBook Neo? I would love to hear your opinions of what you've seen so far with the MacBook Neo. Anybody? Got a question? Go ahead.
I had a question about about parallels.
Sure.
Do you know if they're going to bring back the ability to link to other people's computers?
You mean you like trying to do remote desktop?
Yeah.
I don't know that answer. It's
because I used to do that for my mother and
I see.
a couple of older friends of mine, and now I can't do it. They canceled it, and I just wondered if you.
Well, you also got to remember it's running a 64-bit, and it's the non-Intel based version of Windows. So there are some limitations when it comes to that. So that could potentially be the possibility of it. It's an AMD 64.
Right. No, I used to use it so I could check how things looked on Windows when I was designing websites and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great for that. So I didn't need a website computer,
No, you're right. Because I was trying to remote into a Windows machine from the Windows machine. Yeah, you had some struggles. The other thing too with Microsoft is Microsoft did put the end of life of the original remote desktop program. So you have to use the Windows app now that they've changed. So they've changed the protocols on there too. Yeah.
Right.
So, more questions? Who's going to run out and buy a Mac? Go ahead, Linda.
Oh, I'm not going to run out and buy a Mac because I'm happy with what I have actually at the moment. But I have a question about the AirPods Max 2. What I've never even considered the over-the-ear things. I have the
AirPods.
Yeah, the AirPods. What's the advantage here on the over-the-ears?
Oh, it's really preference. I mean, I've got both, honestly. I mean, I don't have the AirPods Max, but I've used, like in the past, I've had the Bose, the QC35s. Those are always very popular when you would travel. You see lots of people have the Bose headsets. And I've got wired headsets sometimes I use, but I've just gone back to the Bluetooth. One of the benefits of it is even though it's Bluetooth, you can plug it in with a wire if you wanted to reduce the latency. So you can use it as a headset, but it's a pretty expensive headset to be doing that because it's designed to be a Bluetooth headset. So it really is always your preference. If you don't like, there are people out there who just don't like headsets. They would rather have earbuds, and that's understandable because they are heavy.
They're heavy. Okay, but
they're not heavy in this case. The weight on these are only 4.7 ounces, so they're not super heavy. But it's awkward. You got headphone and a band over your head. Everybody's different.
What about noise cancellation? Are these better than
They
the
improved upon the
AirPods?
previous model, yeah. So
No,
it's
no. I'm
Are they better than
yeah. Are they better than
are
the
they better than the pods?
AirPods Pro?
AirPod?
I don't think so. I think
You
they're
don't
pretty
think so?
comparable. I think they're pretty
Okay, 'cause
comparable.
it
The
seems like
AirPods
they.
Pro 3 have gotten really good, especially with the software
Do I
updates
have
it
the
did.
3? Do I have AirPods 3?
I think so. Yes.
I can't remember which ones I
I think
have.
it's the latest model, yeah.
Yeah. What is the latest iPod?
The AirPods?
Yeah, earpods. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the AirPods. There's the AirPods 4. That's the regular AirPods, not the ones with the earpieces. The AirPods Pro 3, those are the ones that are the most the highest end model.
Three.
Those are the
Okay.
current ones.
I
The
don't
2 and the 3 and the 1, the cases look very, very similar. Of course, the 1 and the 2 had lightning charging, but then from there they went to USB-C. But between the 2 and the 3, there's not a drastic difference between the two. If you have a 2, you're fine with the AirPods. But the 3, I definitely notice some really, really good fidelity and sound, and noise cancellation works really, really well. Especially I've used it a few times on a plane, and you
know.
could you can turn down the full noise cancellation. You hear nothing. It's all
Well,
the
that's
plane's very
right.
loud.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
on the
Now, see,
plane.
I have to disagree with that because I have the
Really?
3, and to me, the noise cancellation doesn't work very well. Now, maybe
Oh.
I'm doing something wrong. I don't know, or maybe I need.
Yeah, you just have to hit
Bad
the
pair.
tab, and then you go to between the modes. You also can
What
go
if-
on the iPhone and look at what setting it's at. Check in the iPhone of the AirPods Pro.
Oh, that's what I should do. I
Yeah,
should do
you
that
see
too.
where you can
Because
switch
yeah,
between the
I have the
different.
same
I don't
problem.
think it's very good.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't.
it's not for
Now,
everybody.
let me ask a question. What about on an airplane?
I've had really good luck with it. I've had some really good
Interesting.
experience with it. Yeah, the
I
noise
wonder if I have
cancellation.
super good hearing or something.
Well,
Okay,
we'll find
I
out
don't
when you have the
understand because
MacStock,
it doesn't.
so.
It just hasn't worked. I don't think it's that good. So
Okay.
I'll play with it a little more because
Yeah.
is this definitely a 3? I mean, I just pulled it up
Okay.
on my.
Yeah, it's within the last year or two they came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
it's fairly new. All right, okay. And I was just wondering, it just seemed to me like if you've got something physically covering your ear, that would be better for noise
Well,
cancellation.
yeah, because it's going to keep, here's a good example. The Vision Pro. The Vision Pro has its speakers in the band that it goes across to here before I wear the band above my head.
Right.
And it does have sound that they're speakers that are sitting next to my ears. If I go like this and cover my ears, I hear like a full out fidelity, and it's like almost really loud. Whereas if I'm wearing my AirPods on the Vision Pro, then I get a much better direct sound. Well, the same thing is a good concept of what a headphone's going to do. It's going to keep all the sound by cupping over your ears and keeping that sound, concentrated in that place. Having the adaptive audio and noise cancellation could make a difference. And it's worth going to the Apple Store and trying them out.
Trying it out.
Yeah, see
Okay.
what it does for you. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Those are some great questions. Yeah, great questions. People are always asking about that, and that's a great question. Anything else with everybody here? I'm open for lots of questions. No?
It looks like we're all going to go out and spend money with Apple now.
Okay, well, I hope I twisted your arm a little bit.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm very happy with it.
I'm going
I
to
mean,
check out the
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
headphones now.
Yeah, it inspires you just to at least check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been driving everything on them. I have a Mac Mini M4, of course, M4 Pro that I've been using with my production since I was starting to get tired of my 16-inch M1 Pro. That was my main guy, but it just takes up so much space on the desk, and that's what's so nice about the Mac Mini. So of course, I think you touched on it. The Mac Minis are just, oh my gosh, they're in such short supply right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to order some for work, and they're pushing out to like almost May, like late mid May now.
Yeah.
Just because of the chip shortages. And I don't know if you covered this, but the reason that is because you have all these data centers and AI
LLMs. People are running them.
LLMs.
Yeah, the
They're
local
running
LLMs.
tons
I
of
did.
that, and that Mac Mini is, so you guys cover that. That's the
Yeah.
reason why that Mac Mini is just so in short supply. They're just gobbling them up. Just kind of like what I'm thinking when these data centers start opening up in your neighborhoods, and your electricity bill is going to go up because they're just
Yeah.
using so much electricity. So But yeah, it's been it's kind of crazy with this whole market right now. I mean, I remember buying hard drives. I buy, a 1 terabyte cost me what, $70? It's not $200 to buy a 1
Yeah.
terabyte hard drive. So
Do you want to do one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you have any speculations or projections you're willing to make on future Mac models?
well, I'm probably gonna think maybe the M6 is gonna be a reality at some point. I think there's also been some rumor of potentially maybe a Mac Neo, which would be like a Mac Mini but a Neo version. There's been some rumors about that, which could be like a price point at around $299. Can you think about that? Wow.
Wow.
It could
Okay.
be the size of probably an Apple TV. They would not put
Oh,
like the case like they have on
Hey.
M4 now, and it could be running the A19 processor, and they could be considering that. Seeing how incredibly popular the MacBook Neo is, they may do that. It's very possible. I mean, we've been talking about it on my show quite a bit. There was a couple discussions this past week about it. So,
Could
so
you
I
see
think it's
that happening
very
this
much a
year?
possibility. Yeah.
I say that again.
Yeah. Could you see that happening this year?
Anything's possible with Apple. I mean, obviously now we've got a new CEO coming in here pretty soon, and I think that the company is going to stay status quo like it is. I mean, it's good that Tim Cook's not leaving; he's going to be executive chairman, which is awesome. And John's going to do a great job as a CEO. I think he is, and I think Apple's it just continues to just. I love following Apple. I think we all are very passionate to be a part of all the Apple world here. So, so it's a very, very good thing to check it out here and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of the rumors with a grain of salt. Obviously, we won't be seeing too much now until when WWC happens in a couple months here. To see what the next great thing is going to happen. With all the changes with the OSs and with the probably Mac OS 27 and iOS 27. We know the Mac OS 27. They've already said that that's the end of the road for all Intel machines. Those Tahoe is going to be the last version that's going to work on an Intel machine. So those of you who have Intel machines, you know that now. But yeah, that they have to change. I mean, it's the architectures that's going back at least 5 or 6 years now since the last Intel processor was released. So, yep. Anything else?
Okay. No, I
Um,
think we're.
I'm assuming Linda and Charles, you're going to be coming at MacStock. I want to make sure I
Yes.
mention MacStock. I hope
Yes.
we get the rest of the crew here. I would love to see everybody from Silicon Valley.
It would be great
be
fun
there.
to have him there. Yeah, it
Oh
would
my
be great
gosh, it'll
fun
be a
to
blast. So
bring more people.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got July 10th, 11th, and 12th, and that's a 3-day conference. And if you're into podcasting and looking at Ecamm is a great program I use for the podcast all the time now. I absolutely love it. And they're going to have a creator camp the day before on the 9th. So something like that might be fun to network and see some new fun things. That's available as well. And but it's going to be at least 3 full days, and I think it's very reasonable. And I would love to see everybody come. So
Yeah.
I will mention, I can just put my podcast up here. I'm going to mention that I have a discount code because you can save $50 on it. It's In Touch if you use that code, and you will be able to get a little bit of a discount on the tickets. So we would love to see you. And I'm speaking again. This will be my 10th year. I can't believe it.
Wow.
10 years of MacStock and 10 years of my podcast too.
Yeah.
So, but this is my podcast and with my regular contributors. I got Jeff Gammett and Marty Jensius. I think he just spoke with you guys, I think last month, right?
He did.
And then Chuck Joyner. We just did the Vision Profiles podcast before I came on with you guys. And Chuck is at NAB right now in Las Vegas, and he and the Vision Profiles podcast just celebrated 100 episodes. Marty just started it up, and another FOMO. I missed out, and I ended up suckering into buying a Vision Pro, so I'm part of that crew now.
Yeah. Very good.
So Chuck
Are you-
surprised us, and he popped on from the show floor just to congratulate Marty with the 100 episodes. Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. So,
Very good.
but yeah,
Yeah, we will definitely be there. We're looking forward.
I knew you would be.
Yeah.
Let's knock on wood. You have some good luck with the flights.
Yeah. Really.
At this point, the premier Mac conference in the nation.
It is. It really is. We have just have so much fun networking, and you're going to meet new people. And David Pogue's going to be there. I know you.
Yeah.
Did you guys have him? Did you have him on?
No, we have not had him on, but
Okay.
I did announce in the news that he would be there. I believe I did.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's gonna do a
Yeah.
presentation as well. He's gonna have an evening with David Pogue, and he's gonna have
And
a lot of fun.
also autographed books.
And
We
you
showed-
can buy books. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he'll autograph it.
Mike Potter was nice enough to contact a local book dealer here in the Chicago area, and he was able to get. I think he's gonna get 3 cases of books. He's gonna have a lot of plenty of books. Everybody sign it. Of course, I already have my book, but like you guys,
We do too. We do
Yeah,
too.
so
Yeah.
we'll bring our book. I'll bring my book, and he can sign my book. But
There you go.
again, I mentioned before we started, David Pogue. I got the amazing opportunity to be able to interview him with myself and Marty Gensius joining me and Jeff Gammett. And we had a pretty awesome. That's episode 417. It was just 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now. So
Okay.
go check it out. It was so much fun, and he's just a really, really nice guy. And that was so awesome because we got to meet him at the Apple World User Group University session,
Uh-huh.
and he came on, and that's how we were able to talk to him. And I was like, I better just send him an email right now. Hey, you want to be my show? And then Mike did the same thing because he was in that meeting, and that's how Mike got contact with David Pogue, and that's why we're able to get him. And he loves Mac user groups. So you guys, Apple user groups, and if you guys can reach out to him, you should, because he'll be on. Because I think he's speaking at Portland, and he spoke at Naples, and he spoke at a bunch of other groups. So you should consider it.
Ask. All right. Okay.
Can't hurt to ask. Yeah. When you say Apple Mac user group, he will be very obliged to do it.
Great.
So, but again, my podcast, it's at youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thank you for allowing me to plug this here. And the website is at intouchwithios.com. And I'm just going to leave it for any more last questions. Anybody have any?
I think we have it.
And,
Okay.
and this is just make sure you know these are other places I'm at as well. We just started the Neo Notebook on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time, with Marty, Eric, and myself. And then we just did vision profiles. That was Monday nights. So it's kind of hard during. It's before your
Before the meeting.
or meetings, but it might overlap because it starts at 8 p.m. Central. So that's 6 p.m. You guys start what, 6:30?
7. Well, technically 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you might catch it if you're into it. It's
Okay.
vision
Might
profiles.
work.
And of course, and the mainstay, of course, is MacVoices Live. Chuck has been amazing to us, and he's quite a mentor for me. And he's the one that twisted my arm all those 10 years ago to make me consider doing a podcast. So we have absolute blast on all these shows, and I can't believe I'm doing like 5 shows now, including my own.
Very good.
But we love it, and that's what we love in the Apple community. So, but thank you for having me. I mean, I'm so glad I was able to jump on here earlier than I always have to wait until November. I don't want to do that. So you're always welcome to ask me again anytime. I love being here, and I love sharing my stuff with you guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your meeting. And thanks.
Great. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
All righty.